So how do you tell how gamers feel
They
about
tell you.
They will tell you.
like
No,
reviews or aging, or how's that
many
happen?
ways. We have social media, we have Discord server, and they through Steam reviews or any, depending whatever platform you're on, reviews of, they will review your game and let you know how they feel. And luckily, the community around Horror Legends has been very, very cool and have been very understanding with the game and its developments. And we've definitely listening to their feedback, and a lot of the games feature. There's been game features have been added because people suggested it to us on Discord. Horror Legends started off as an early access title, so people they would play early builds of the game before it was very raw, and they go, "Oh, this is cool," but it would be cool if this happened, or like this attack's too strong, or I feel like the chase mechanic here isn't really working, and we would look at that. We don't really have like a huge dedicated testing team, so the early access model really helped us get that data. I would watch every video and stream on Horror Legends to get any information that could be useful to like fix a bug or fix some balance issue, or just something that felt like a rough edge that I could sand off on the game anywhere. Like I just did something the other day. I saw a stream of Horror Legends. I saw like, oh, maybe this should work like this instead. So let's just tweak that feature a little bit so players won't get confused as often. Like flashlights were turned off at the beginning of the game, and people would spend 3 or 4 games like, is there a flashlight in this game? I'm like, yes, there's a flashlight. It's like no one looks at the controls before they play. They just jump in and get frustrated when they don't know what they're doing. I'm like, well, I guess I have to have everything kind of laid out for you so you're not as frustrated. So it's like, well, an easy fix, just turn the flashlights on when the game starts, and then that way they know they have a flashlight, and then they'll look. If they want to turn it off, they can look to find a way to turn it off.
Right.
And now you've taught them that there's a flashlight, and they're not going to be running through the dark,
the
whole game. And you're like, there was one of the objectives requires a flashlight to use. You have to shine a magical flashlight on some magic like shield around an objective. And they're like, there's a flashlight here. It says we need a flashlight. We got to find a flashlight. Like, no, just press the T button. Just press the T.
Wait a
yelling
minute.
At the screen. It's at the T button. Like there's a flashlight.
Flashlight is T?
The torch. Our programmer's German.
Oh, okay.
So you put it there. I'm like, fine. Our F is our primary use key. So like, I'm not going to make it F. So T.
Right.
Guess
what about L?
Lantern. That's really far on the keyboard.
It is really far, but L's often a flashlight, I've noticed, and I agree with you.
I've never noticed that before.
T is chat usually.
Yeah, we have Y and U, I think.
That's cool.
Forgetting.
You know what though? We're supposed to. You're right though. We as gamers, we're supposed to look at the. You lay it out there for you. I mean, do you have a tutorial at the beginning where like it says anything like that, like little bubbles and stuff?
I made a comic on how to play the game.
I
took screenshots. I made it like kind of fun. You can read. Basically, it's like those old manuals you used to get in you buy a game, you get to read the manual, and sometimes they have artwork and make it fun to like learn how to play. That's what we did with Horror Legends. Reason why it's cheaper. Well, it's not cheaper, it's a lot more work for me. I have to draw and design and write how to play the game and lay it out in a way that you can understand. But it doesn't require me to pay our programmer to make some complex like single player tutorial with prompts and like button presses and all that stuff is very expensive and time consuming. You have to test that, make sure it works, it doesn't break. Like it's like, you want a tutorial or you want a new legend monster to play as? Like those are the two things. Like I can just show you how to play. You just take a second and flip through this like comic book that I made for you. You'll get the basics, and then just jump in and kind of figure it out, look at the buttons. It's all there. But people want to learn the game as fast as possible. I don't blame them, but like there's a restraint there. We don't have the funds or the time to really make something that complicated. Maybe if we were a team of at least 6,
and
we had money, maybe, but we're a team of 2.5.
2.5.
Our programmer is part-time. He works when we have tasks for him, and then it's me and my business partner Nick, who is the sound designer and level designer. He helps design levels and helps me balance characters, and we basically clash ideas together, and we take two rocks and make a diamond. And it's been very, very beneficial, having someone to like do that with. Otherwise it's just me by myself and testing things. But and our programmer, we're like, hey, we want you to make this character that can teleport and have crazy like attacks, and we have this mechanic with her where you have to use holy water on her, and it's like he's like, what? And it's like 4 or 5 like task cards breaking down, and I just break it down and like, okay, must be able to do this feature. If you press this button, does this, and it doesn't make any sense to him, but he just does what we lay out, and hopefully it works, and we test it out and it works. Doesn't work, we can bring it back. It's like it's not fun, but it works to a point.
Yes, I'm learning there is a lot that goes into thinking video games.
Oh yeah.
There's my business partner Nick and I had this 4-hour conversation about the jump button one night. So it's like that's how nitty gritty it gets. It's like every little thing matters. Like if one number is off, the game could be broken. Like we have a werewolf in our game, and I'm very adamant on making this thing feel and play like what you would expect a werewolf to play like. Like we can balance this thing so it's fair very easily, but like it's not going to be fun for the werewolf player or for this cast, which is our survivors. And like we were trying to like, okay, if the werewolf's too fast, he's going to just turn everyone into hamburger in like a second. So we have to slow him down, but then the werewolf player feels like they're not fast enough because they're expecting a werewolf to be really fast because it's an animal. It's like a lion. So like it's got to be moving fast. So we have to come up with new ways to make that feel like it's fast, but also make it so they can't just catch someone and kill them in like a second. So there's many nights talking about the werewolf. The werewolf was very tough to balance, and I think we sit in a really good spot right now.
What did you come up with for the werewolf? Do you have like they hold up like a cross or silver bullets or something, or like
silver sword? You can find a silver sword on the map, and you have to download werewolf twice. And not to get too nitty gritty into the mechanics, but we have a downstate system in the game. Some characters use it, all the survivors, cast members use it, and some legends use it. So if you reach 0, your character will enter like a injured state where they're kind of like they can't move and they can't attack or anything. And there's like they have a second health bar when they're in that state, and when that health bar goes down to 0, now you can activate a finisher animation, which I painstakingly animated every single one, where where you can actually grab someone and like do something cinematic to them to finish them off. And with the werewolf, you can like usually those are made for the legends to kill a cast member in a fantastic way, but with the werewolf and our other character Radu, you can actually do that as a cast member on the legend. So it's like to find the silver sword, you've downed the werewolf, his health bar went down to 0, and now you can actually execute him when he goes down. You take the sword, you just impale the werewolf, and then he dies. And it's pretty epic, because usually if a werewolf knows what he's doing, he's been terrorizing you the entire game. He's just constantly on you, mulling you, and when you finally impale him, it's like this huge victory, which is pretty fun.
Oh,
I don't know if anything I said made any sense.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I got it.
Yeah, so I guess he acts like you would expect a werewolf to act in a horror film, where he's constantly trying to get the people, and and then that big moment when they're able to get him is like feels similar to that from the end of the film.
Yeah, it's like if you were able to actually achieve that, it feels like an end of a movie. Like you finally defeated the monster.
Right.
But if the werewolf's not very good, doesn't know what they're doing, it feels like you just bullied someone to death. So it's because the werewolf's like, I don't know, I can't catch anyone. Like they don't know how to use the pounce abilities, the crawling abilities, the travel mode abilities. Like there's all sorts of different ways you can move as the werewolf. So they're just trying to run on 2 feet, chasing someone with their claws, and they're like not catching people. And that's because they don't know about the other movement options this character has and how vicious they can be. Like the werewolf doesn't do a lot of damage, but can do a little amount of damage very fast. And that's like what it's all about with that character, where other characters like Punky have this giant scythe can do critical hit damage to you in like 1 or 2 hits, where the werewolf can hit you like 10 times and then you'll go down. But it's like you want to be able to survive these encounters, these creatures, and be able to react to them, but also make the creatures feel like they're powerful. So it's very tricky. This is the hardest type of genre to start off on.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
It's so hard. Like you're better off making something like a single player RPG, not even an RPG, maybe just a platformer or something.
Yeah, Doom again.
Yeah, just make something simple. My dream game was this the most complicated multiplayer game genre ever. It's a multiplayer game. It's like video games are hard. Multiplayer games are very hard. Asymmetrical multiplayer games are even harder.
Yeah.
I kind of fantasize about making a non-asymmetrical game where it's like that's gonna be easy to balance.
Right.
Like I feel like I could do anything now.
Oh wow.